you've been influential in the development of business here in Chattanooga. Who are some other leaders you think in the community, just individuals or other businesses as a whole, who can be thanked to contributing to the creation of Chattanooga's really bustling, growing business community?
Yeah, I think about that a lot. And obviously, one person that was so huge for Chattanooga was Jack Lupton, who started. Jack Lupton came from Coca-Cola, and Chattanooga had the bottling facility that had the distribution rights for really all of America. But kind of his vision, I think, early on, and really creating, at some point, Walter Cronkite called Chattanooga one of the most dirty cities in America. And he kind of had the vision of putting the aquarium downtown. And it's funny, back then, I've read stuff and people told me, like, Chattanooga didn't even want that at that time. Like, a lot of people were, like, against it, and this is a dumb idea. But this is a really super dirty city. But, he put that downtown, and that kind of has helped spread. As you can see, good restaurants came in, tourism really picked up. It really just helped spark the city. And, I'm from Birmingham, Alabama, and people all the time now, I go home, I'm like, yeah, I live in Chattanooga. They're like, oh my gosh, it's a cool city. And they just love it. And I think a lot of his vision early on, talking about, seeing what he thought, what he believed was so important as, cleaning up the city and starting as, Lyndhurst and Benwood, and a lot of these foundations have really led to a real renaissance in Chattanooga. But other people, like, now that I think of people like Bob Corker. I mean, Bob Corker was a very successful businessman. He ran a great construction company that grew a lot. Then he ran for mayor, and now he's one of the most influential senators in the in the country, which is neat. Another guy, Corky Coker of Coker Tire. It's funny. I mean, he's really kind of an icon in automobiles and classic cars and that sort of thing. And so we've got a lot of really neat people here. Don Brock at Aztec. Don Brock, he's a kind of a quieter guy, but it's a publicly traded company here in Chattanooga that's got 19 global facilities all over the world. And so there's a lot of neat kind of can-do spirit in Chattanooga, and a lot of influential people.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so why do you think Chattanooga is an ideal place for business?
I talk about this a lot, and I was in Silicon Valley last week, and so it's just, I talked to a guy there, and he splits an apartment with another guy, and his rent, he splits it, right? So his rent, he told me, was $2,700 a month. $2,700. Like, you could buy like a really nice house in Chattanooga for $2,700 a month. But so one big key is the cost of living. It's you can come here and have a nice house and have a great family, and you can do well. Also, the quality of life. Obviously, we all love Chattanooga, but we've got beautiful mountains and rivers, and great riverfront parkway. We've got you can go downtown and feel safe. So there's a lot of I could sell Chattanooga all day on how much I love it, but there's just so many there's great schools here. So there's a lot of things that's easy to sell for people to come in. There's there's not traffic here. I've got friends in Atlanta and friends kind of all over the country, and there's Chattanooga does not have traffic, which is nice, and people are friendly, and they really kind of want to see you succeed, I feel.
Definitely. So where do you see the business community in Chattanooga 10, 20 years into the future?
This is, I kind of compare Chattanooga, and it's funny, I hear this a lot, kind of just being on the road and traveling. People that come to Chattanooga, they say, you know what, Chattanooga feels like Austin, Texas, like 10 years ago. It feels like Boulder, Colorado, 10, 15 years ago. And so there's this lot of momentum. And it's funny, I'm meeting people all the time that are relocating here, that are starting businesses here. And it's this huge progression of, we're bringing in a lot of good talent, and people just see what we have here and be like, you know what? They kind of they view our city as a startup. And they're like, you know what? I want to come here. I can make a difference. I can raise a family here. And so I really see Chattanooga kind of being, kind of in that ballpark in the next 5 to 10 years.
Great. Well, that all sounds good. Is there anything else you'd like to mention or add about yourself or your experiences or Chattanooga as a whole?
No, I think, I'm speaking to a lot of really smart people there at GPS, and what we are really passionate about is helping people to be successful. And we're very, whatever it is in life, but we're very bent on entrepreneurism and, business. And I see a lot of really bright young people starting businesses at a very young age. And so, like with the internet and where you guys have been with your life and just how a phone is like attached to your hand at all times, probably. Like you don't know a life without a cell phone. And so I think there's a huge opportunity for you girls, and I think there's a lot of neat things happening with the Jump Fund. There's a fund in town. One of my partners, Shelly Prevost, she's a partner at, and they've raised like a $2 to $2.5 million fund that invests in women entrepreneurs. And so that's a really cool thing. And so we think GPS is a huge asset for our community, and I think we've got really bright talent here. And so one of our goals is for folks to kind of find out what we do or find out what's cool in Chattanooga. You girls go to awesome colleges, and then come back and start a company here. And so that's what we think. That's what we really want. We want people to kind of go away, learn some neat stuff, and then this is a cool place to go. I mean, Nashville and Atlanta are cool, but we want you here in Chattanooga. So that'd be it.
Great. Well, thank you so